Now, we all know that Disney is super woke, and remember a couple of years ago there was a behind-the-scenes Zoom meeting where somebody was revealing themselves as putting gay stuff in as much as possible to cartoons.
Our leadership over there has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. All that momentum that I felt, that sense of I don't have to be afraid to let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background. I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness.
Well, now they're not hiding the race agenda. Have a look at this cartoon, which is available on Disney now.
Built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build it. Slaves built this country. And we, the descendants of slaves in America, have earned reparations for their suffering. And continue to earn reparations every moment we spend submerged in the systemic prejudice, racism, and white supremacy that America was founded with and still has not atoned for. Slaves built this country.
This is insane. Back in my day, you could sit in front of the TV and watch any Disney film or program, and your parents would be 100% confident that it was appropriate, that it was PG at worst, but mostly G, and that they could leave the room for 2 hours and let you watch something magical. This is like some dystopian, crazy, terrible view of America and American history through the lens of Robin DiAngelo, whose book is recommended in the series.
Now, I know it's the shallow end of the pond, but can us girls just say one or two things about Madonna at the Grammys? What was that?
Oh my God, Paul, I'm concerned about what's going on with her. I understand a lot of women choose to get plastic surgery, especially as they age. Great. Not ruling it out for myself, by the way. But what's happening there is she's unwell. She's not a well person. And she's gone to this place where she looks more like Marilyn Manson. She shaved off her eyebrows. Her face is totally deformed. This is not edgy. This is not, avant-garde the way Madonna used to be. And it's certainly not sexy. She's crossed over to sad. And someone should step in and stop it.
And yet again, we learn about the true character of Prince Harry, more than willing to slur a member of the public who was the older woman he apparently lost his virginity to. She was, 2, 3 years older than him? And I say good on her for getting as much money as she can selling her story now.
He is so thoughtless. This is just the latest example in how classless and thoughtless this guy is and how much better off he was when we didn't know him. The more we get to know him, the less we like him. And in fact, it's turning now to active disdain. What he did to this poor woman, he made it sound like it was a Mrs. Robinson situation where it was like an older woman, the mother of a friend. No, she was 4 years older. They're both teenagers. Okay, that's not really, but okay. And left the trail of breadcrumbs right to this woman. She accurately saw it coming. She doesn't have a lot of money. She's not a person of means. And she was embarrassed. And she came out and said, all right, fine, this is how it happened. But he's not a gentleman, Paul. He has no class. And we saw that in the way he referred to a very well-known newspaper woman with absolutely disgusting terms, the way he referred to a woman who was at Eton, and the terms he used about her, an elderly woman. He has no thought for anybody. And it's perfect irony, of course, because he and his wife are lecturing us every other day in how we're supposed to talk about people, especially women. That's his wife's whole podcast. You're not allowed to say the B word. You're not allowed to say, difficult. And, can you say all the horrible things he said about the News Corp woman? Because that's kind of out there in left field when it comes to proper discourse. And he's a hypocrite. He's a classless, vulgar hypocrite, and he's laid it all bare.
And it also shows us that the obsession is always with showbiz and little people. They're just for waving at or driving past or buying books or listening to podcasts. Because we see that they went to the wedding vow renewals of Ellen and Australia's Portia de Rossi.
It's perfect, really. It's perfect because they were about as close to Ellen as Oprah was to them when they invited her to their wedding. This is what they think about. My wedding, we had, I think, 140 people. It was all people who I knew intimately, who I had had many social experiences with, or my husband had, or both, Who invites some random celebrity to their wedding or their vow renewal? It speaks as poorly as of Ellen as it does of them. And by the way, it's not like Ellen is some hugely popular celebrity anymore here in the United States. People loathe her. She turned out to be a massive bully to all the people on her set. Follow the thread. She was reported to not look people. She didn't want the staffers to look her in the eye when they walked by her in the hallways. She would only deal with like only the top executives. She didn't want people speaking to her. Does that remind you of anybody? Yes, similar reports about Meghan Markle bullying her staff and thinking she was better than the little people. No wonder they got the invite.